Hey, everyone. Welcome to Happy Hour in the Land. I'm Gomer. That's the professor. This is a place that you can come to for all Northeast Ohio sports fans. We come here, we commiserate, we need the therapy session, about Cleveland sports. We just talk about it, get it out of our system. We have drinks. I have, again, the Christmas ale because someone was nice enough to get me another 6-pack of it. So I really do appreciate it. That guy.
Yes, Gome, and I am drinking good old fashioned Angel's Envy with ice. As much as I envy your beer, I am a bit of a whiskey drinker, and this time, my friend, we can drink to celebrate some Browns news. Right, 2 victories, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. I believe that deserves a cheers, bud.
Yeah, it is Victory Monday, right? We had a big victory this weekend. But with that, it's also Black Monday. And with that, I wear my Factory of Sadness t-shirt. But we were able to hold off the Bengals this weekend with a last-second field goal by Schmidt to win the game. And just real quick, poetic justice, right? Last-second field goal. He's the guy that missed the kick in the first game against the Bengals. Ends the season on a walk-off kick. Just poetic justice, I think.
No, I thought it was great, right? It was, and especially because after the first game, Gome, how many people were calling for, the letting go of our kicker Schmidt, right? And I think you and I talked about it. He's a rookie. Rookies are going to make some mistakes. I thought it was great that the Browns stuck by him, and I couldn't agree with you more. When he made that final kick, the whole time, Gome, I was like, this guy's got it. This guy's got it, and it was right down the middle. It was a beautiful kick.
Yeah. Yeah, we talk about that a little bit more. Obviously, a lot to talk about. I mean, like I said, Black Monday, lots to talk about. Obviously, we just we're gonna talk more about the game. We're gonna talk more about Miles and his sack record. We're gonna cover the Black Monday news.
That's coming. We got Victory Monday along with Black Monday. It's kind of a bittersweet. Don't you think, Go?
Yeah. I mean, it was really tough because it was such a high note to come off to the season, and we beat the Steelers and we beat the Bengals to end the season. Just feeling so good. And then the news dropped today that Stefanski was fired after 6 seasons. We're now entering the new head coaching search that we haven't had for in 6 years, which I'm very grateful that at least that we have, we were going every 3 seasons, 2-3 seasons, sometimes even after 1 season, getting a new head coach. So I am happy that we held it off for 6 seasons at least.
And can we just take a pause there, right? Because I think all the Cleveland Browns fans will acknowledge that, right? We had so many coaching changes for so long. And let's never forget, right? Hugh Jackson got an extra year after that terrible season that he had, right? He didn't win any games, right? And they brought him back.
We won 16, yeah. Then we brought him back, yeah.
Oh, and then they brought him back, and did he win like 2 games that year? So in 2 years, he won 2 games. But that was tough, man. I was kind of rooting for Hugh Jackson. He had a really great history with the Raiders. The players seemed to love him. Seemed to be a tough-nosed guy. But I don't know, man. Maybe it's something about being into Cleveland, that just, I don't want to say kills coaches, but wow. Boy, do we go through them, don't you think?
Well, I'm convinced about Hugh Jackson. I'm convinced that there's a conspiracy there too, by the way. I really think that he was set up to fail. I think that this is conspiracy. There's no actual evidence to this, but I really think that they set up a plan that come out and said, all right, because that's when they got rid of everyone, right? That's when they got rid of Joe Hayden. They got rid of the linebacker. Was it Tequel? They got rid of Jackson. I believe. They got rid of all the big names. And I really think they cleaned house to tank. And I think they had a 3-year plan. And I really think inside the walls of Cleveland Browns Stadium, I think they had a plan that they were going to tank, get the number 1 pick, and then just start building from there. I really think that. And then the 3rd season, when things still weren't going well, I think that's when they kind of hit the abort button and just said, there's too much fan backlash. We got to do something. And I think that's why they kicked out Hugh and abandoned the plan, which... you can't blame him really after that, but I really think that there was a plan, and I think he got screwed on. I think he was the goat, really, the scapegoat.
Well, that's interesting because some of the people I've been talking to today think that Kevin Stefanski was the scapegoat for the Deshaun Watson deal, right?
Absolutely.
If we can just assume that Barry did not tell Jimmy
Andrew.
Haslam to open up his wallet and spend all that money. And I believe the rumors have, I'm going to let you talk about this later, right? But I think there are some rumors about Kevin Stefanski finally making his voice being heard on that decision. And so if the decision was by Jimmy Haslam, then how much did the Deshaun Watson deal set the Cleveland Browns back? Right? Baker was the quarterback. We all remember that, but we had gotten pretty close to a playoff game, if not play a playoff game. So we were on the rise. And then all that money and then three first round draft picks. I'm sorry, that's an awful lot of a price for one player. Now, if it worked out, I'm sure we'd be talking different. We'd be happy about it going, but I don't think anybody in Cleveland is happy about that. And all I just want to stress is that kind of money you can't bring in the free agent wide receivers like you and I have talked about before. And without three first round draft picks, not that the Browns have a real good history of hitting on all first round picks, right? We did have a couple with John Dorsey was here, right? But of course, then he went to Detroit, and Detroit's roster is phenomenal. Little disappointed in Detroit. I really thought they were going to go farther this year.
Yeah, for sure. I think Detroit fans too. They really thought they're going to go farther. Man, I think they lost 2 games last year up into the playoffs, and now I think they're 9-8 or 8-9, one of the two, and they missed the playoffs this year. And a lot of people actually ironically called for Dan Campbell's head, which, man, yeah, fine, fire him. We'll take him. I mean, I think it's ridiculous that they're calling for his head after that season, but what do I know?
See, that's what I'm talking about, Gom. I think we could add something different to our shows, right? Because we only do about once a week. But Gomer, what do you think about? Let's talk about these talking heads, right? How many talking heads? ESPN, NFL Network, countless podcasts, including this one, right? Have talked about the letting go of Stefanski. And what did I hear on NFL Network today? Stefanski's a good coach. He'll get a new job. What did I hear on ESPN today? Stefanski's a good coach. He's going to get a new job. Well, if he's such a good coach, please, yes, Adam Schefter was one of them. Please, go ahead.
I think I know exactly where we're going, because Adam Schefter did tweet out too that he's getting the Falcons, Giants, and Titans are all interested in talking with Stefanski. And I even heard on a separate report, I heard the Dolphins were, if they got rid of Mike McDaniel, that they wanted to talk to Stefanski. So I mean, I feel like that right there is enough to tell you, like, hey, maybe we shouldn't pull that trigger. Maybe we should get him one more year, because all these teams realize it's not entirely his fault, right? Like, they all realize Watson had a big deal to do with it. And especially with these last 2 games, this last game against the Bengals, especially the Bengals, when you didn't have Fannin, you didn't have Schlesinger, we didn't have 4 offensive linemen. You know, we didn't have Cam Robinson, DeJuan Jones, Conklin. Poachich was out.
Our 2 starting cornerbacks were out for how long? Campbell and Ward were out at the same time, right? And they were still worried about Miles Garrett. So I'm sorry, you were talking about all those people that were out. All I wanted to add was 2 of our starting quarterbacks were out at the same time on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have any of these players, and we didn't have any of those players, and he was still able to pull out a victory, which I think that has something to do with the head coaching. So I really do think it was a mistake to get rid of him. I really do think another year would have been really good, especially because we had 7 rookies. Again, I think coming in, the expectation was 4 or 5 wins. And actually, we have a clip from Andrew Barry, that I would like to play.
Season, we were realistic that, we were a team and a roster in transition. And ultimately, this decision is born from the fact that we've ultimately felt like we did not see enough progress in areas that were controllable, independent of certain game outcomes.
Which that really puzzles me. I'd love to know exactly what he's talking about, right? Because I mean, we saw improvement on the defensive end, especially with Schlesinger, right? I mean, we saw him kind of blossom. We saw Fannin blossom. I mean, so you talk about the quarterbacks, play, but again, we're on our fourth string quarterback going into the last game of the year. And so again, with the three different quarterbacks playing throughout the year, it's really hard to kind of, I guess, develop one quarterback. So I'd really love to know what he's talking about, especially when they know that they're going to have a roster in transition. To me, 4 or 5 wins was the expectation, and I think he hit that. So I'd really love to know exactly what area of improvement he's looking at here.
No, I think that's a great point. And what I would just stress to our viewers at home is the amount of rookies, right, that the Cleveland Browns were playing. I think we saw one of the stats that showed that this year the Cleveland Browns were the second youngest team, first youngest team, right?
Well, they had the most rookie snaps. Go ahead.
Okay, but there you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You had the most rookie snaps, right, in the entire NFL. And I was just talking to a friend of mine. God bless him. He's a diehard Browns fan. He's going through a rough time right now. And I had to remind him, Barry saved his job with this last draft pick. Mason Graham plus another first-round draft pick. Judkins, who seems to be an absolute freaking stud. Schlesinger, as you just mentioned. Remember, folks, JOK was our middle linebacker. JOK was out for the season, if not forever. Mad props to JOK. Let's hope you come back strong. And so Schlesinger was one of those extra picks. We weren't expecting to get him. He was the second best linebacker in the draft, and he is up, I think, for defensive rookie of the year. So, right, those three right there. And had Fanning. And what do we have with Shedeur, right? Do we even know? Oh, surprise, surprise. He's holding on to the ball too long. That's what he did in college. I thought that's what we were supposed to coach him out of, And when it comes to Sanders, I just like to say, I think the eyeball test shows that he has some skills. But with how many people in the offensive line out, with Judkins out, with Njoku, well, Fanning was out, right? Was Njoku in there yesterday, boss?
No, he was out.
So we already have one of the most anemic offenses in the league, right? And you put a rookie out there, as you said, the fourth string quarterback. And was there some bad plays? Yeah, but there were also some good plays. I think we're starting to see just how good the defense is. Can the Browns hold on to that defense and still repair the offense? Or are the Browns, in your opinion, so handcuffed by this quarterback position that they're just going to keep all steam ahead to get a quarterback and just let the rest of it fall apart? I don't want to think that, because you got Judkins, you got a tight end last year, right? So can we get some offensive linemen, get a really good superstar weapon, put that on the offense, give these guys some time to gel? I'm going to throw one more out there. John Madden, famous coach John Madden, said the offensive line, those guys need to play together for 2 full years before they're really together. Granted, John Madden coached a while ago, but I think you'll agree with me, nobody has an offensive line that is together for 2 years. Right? I think with injuries, you start to see something like 40 different combinations of offensive line. It's a new game. You got to think quick. You got to play quick. You got to move quick. And you know what you need for that, You need young players. We got an extra draft pick. Barry, maybe he took a little time to figure out his magic. I loved last year's draft class. I'm not so sure about the quarterback pick. Again, I think that was from above. And I say that because, do you remember on draft day? Do you remember the video of them on TV, the coach and Barry, when they picked Shedeur Sanders? That was not a happy face. I think that pick really screwed up their plans. And you know what? Hey, that happens sometimes. And I think that goes back to what Barry was saying. They expected more wins from him, but I'm curious how many wins they wanted. And to add on to your point about what exactly are his specifics, 5 wins. How many games did you have how many games did you have predicted for the Browns to win this year?
I really thought 4. I really did. I thought 5
4
would be.
So Stefanski beat that, right? I think the guys on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show said something around 5, 6, 7, at the absolute tops. Again, 4th string quarterback, 5th round draft pick. He's a rookie. Peyton Manning played the entire first season, and he had more interceptions than he had touchdowns. Think about that today, folks. If you saw a rookie quarterback out there for 16, 17 games and had more interceptions than touchdowns in today's world, you'd sit him and bench him. And yet we're talking about Peyton Manning, one of the greatest generals and minds there were. So some interesting things to look about. But I thank you for saying 4 games when was your prediction when the Browns ended up winning 5. What were Barry's standards? Or was Stefanski the scapegoat? Because if the players don't buy in, as much as we think Stefanski or anybody thinks Stefanski should add another year, if the players aren't buying in, man, I think that's when you just need, everybody needs a new chapter. I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Well, no, you talk about the players buying in, and that's what I've heard, and especially like they were still playing hard. Obviously, the last 3 games we looked good, and I heard that the players were still buying in, and they still liked Stefanski.
Okay.
The same can't be said about Hugh Jackson. I think that's ultimately why he got fired, was at the end that the players kind of gave up on him. But so I really think that that he's set up for success going forward, right? Is he gonna go to the Giants, have Jackson Dart, and all of a sudden now he's looking good because Jackson Dart's in his 2nd year, and he's and by the way, the Browns really wanted Jackson Dart, which I think is hilarious. That he might end up with him when he goes to the Giants, but like I said, Falcons, Titans, or Dolphins, they're all possibilities right now. You don't know where he's going to go, but just the fact that again, he's the top candidate, the top head coaching candidate, and the Browns were like, no, we don't want him. We don't want him. Everyone else wants him. We don't want him.
So real quick then, right? Is compare this to the Steelers, right? What's his name? The Chin, Bill Cowher, right? He had a bad year once, and I remember they were calling for his head. He had 1 bad year. Next year, rebounded, had a great year. Tomlin, they're always talking about his head, but only because he's not winning in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Go. If Mike Tomlin became available and wanted to coach for the Browns, would you take him?
Oh, yeah, I would. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. He's had no losing seasons, 0 losing seasons. And the Steelers fans have been calling to get him fired the last 2 years. I can't fathom that.
Is it crazy fanhood? You know what I mean? Is it today's 24-hour news cycle, where you gotta get those clicks, because ESPN just had a show before Sunday, right? Because they had all the coaches on the hot seat, and of course Stefanski was on the hot seat. They had a list of like 12 coaches on there, and so far, right? What do we have? We have Oakland, we have Cleveland, and Arizona. So far, I think that have been fired,
and Atlanta as well.
So is it just clickbait? That's why I agreed to do this with you, Go, right? We are actual Browns fans who actually will watch the games, look at the stats, and talk to you at home and say, yeah, man, we love our Browns, but they are far from perfect, right? This is why we have our liquid libations. This is why we talk. There's a lot to talk about. But just to land the plane with you, Go, I don't know what Barry was talking about, and I honestly thought you had like six wins guessing for them. So the fact that Stefanski won more, all I can think about is that he lost the locker room. But I hear you saying that you don't think it. And I saw those players on Sunday going, I don't think they quit. I do not think they quit on him like they quit on Jackson. But, it's clear the Haslams are running the show, right? And that's what makes me nervous. Al Davis, what's his name in Dallas?
Oh, Jerry Jones.
Yeah, Jerry Jones. Are we the new Jerry Jones, Al Davis, because of our owner?
I don't know.
There we go. See that, folks? Go and put his in an awesome baseball bat cup so you can't see him sipping, where I will full on show you that we are happy, but another off season of, are we going to get a quarterback? Who's our coach? Can we beg Cleveland for Jim Schwartz? Is that too unclassy for us to do?
Well, and honestly, there's a lot of good head coaches out there. I've heard a lot of names being thrown around. I've heard, Brian Flores. I've heard if Mike McDaniel gets fired from the Miami, which I love that guy. He's a former Cleveland assistant coach. And if he learned from the things that happened in Miami, I think he'll be okay. But I honestly would. Schwartz is on the top of my list just because the defense will stay the same, right? Like our defense was the top passing defense in the league, and obviously with Miles, I mean, we got to keep that defense together. I'm really scared if we get a different defensive coordinator, what's going to happen. So I'm hoping for Schwartz just to keep our defense together, because I'd love to keep our defense together and then fix the offense. Because if we can do that,
100%.
We'll be all
100%. Right. That's why I was like, why not give Stefanski another year? Keep the band together. Give Stefanski solid quarterback play. That's another thing that talking heads have been saying, is that not only do they believe Stefanski is the front runner for all those jobs that you just mentioned, right? But part of that reason is because when he has consistent quarterback play, Stefanski shows that he can play call a really good game. Go.
Yeah.
6 years in Cleveland. When did he have solid quarterback play?
Baker. When Baker was healthy.
When Baker was healthy. And that last year that he played, right, that he was playing with the sling, remember that? That was the second game. That was the second game he got hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that it all boils down to that, right? Like, to me, if maybe they would have benched Baker saying, hey, you're hurt, we got to put somebody else in. If they would have done that and give Baker another year, I think like it's one of those like timelines in Back to the Future, just like all of a sudden we're
good.
Right. We're at the top of the Biff Tannen Hotel, I mean, like, but but now here we are and we're in the ghettos. I mean, so I really think that maybe that was a splitting point.
Well, that's my point right now with Stefanski. I was up in Cleveland, saw a bunch of friends, right? And I heard the talk on the streets, man. For those of you that don't live in Cleveland, first of all, congratulations. You're probably in nicer weather. But, right, you probably, like me, and you miss talking to actual people from Northeast Ohio who again, like Gomer and I will do, we will talk the truth about the Browns. And what are we talking about here again? We're talking about going back into the abyss of looking for a head coach to land the plane, keep Jim Schwartz, keep Stefanski. Shador, he's a rookie. He's a 5th round rookie. And unless you're in love with the guy from Indiana, which, by the way, you're not going to get at the 7th pick, my God, build around Shador. Build around Shador, or the alternative is what? We're going to trade one of those 1st-round draft picks. We're going to try and get Archie Manning again next year. So what? Now, this year, we got to get a new coach. We got to get a bridge quarterback just to hope for Archie Manning. You got a quarterback on the team. You don't have an offensive line. You don't have much of a wide receiver. Does it matter who we put behind there, in your opinion, Gom? Pick your greatest quarterback. Otto Graham, Joe Montana, Tom Brady. Who is going to be able to live behind that offensive line? And that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of that we're going to keep chasing this quarterback, keep chasing it, when the Browns are forgetting the first lesson that the Baltimore Ravens taught us. And that is, you don't need a superstar quarterback to win the Super Bowl. Play with what you got, build around what you got. Go ahead, boss.
Yeah. I mean, and it was interesting too when Barry came out and he gave his press conference today too, that he was asked flat out about the quarterback situation, and he really didn't fluff anything, right? He just kind of was like, I don't know if the quarterback's on the roster. I don't know if the quarterback's coming from somewhere else. He did kind of mention something about like getting a veteran quarterback in here. He said it all depends on what the head coach is going to do. So he wouldn't put his chips on Shador, which I'm okay with. I don't think he's shown enough to say that we can build around him at this point. He hasn't done much, in my opinion, to say that. Like, especially in our last 2 wins. I mean, those were defensive wins. They weren't because of Shador being our quarterback.
100%. But what are you thinking, Gome? What's talk to me, man? What's your opinion then? Because I'm with you. Make great points. I'm not married to Shador. I'm just saying, am I the only one who's tired of this quarterback carousel? Right?
No, and that's why. I'm with you. I'm with you because that's exactly why I've been pushing for, when we had the first, or when it looked like we were going to get the number 2 pick. That's why I was pushing for, like, let's get off this quarterback carousel. Let's just get somebody that we know can go. I don't think that question will be answered this offseason, but we looked at some of the quarterback free agents that are going to be out there. Nothing's really standing out, right? I mean, there's going to be Malik Willis, which would be cool. Daniel Jones is a possibility. Those would be cool, but they're also going to be expensive. The Browns don't have a lot of cap room because of Deshaun Watson, unless they restructure his deal. And I really don't want to restructure his deal. Let's just get that deal over with. Let's quit kicking the can down the road. Let's just deal with what we have and move forward. But that makes it tough for this year, right? I mean, I don't know. We could go back to Jacoby Brissett, Tyrod Taylor. I mean, none of these guys.
I think they're both available, Gome. I think they're both available.
Russell Wilson's a possibility, but again, he couldn't handle as the Jets quarterback. I don't know how he would fare being in Cleveland. So it's going to be real tough.
You mean the Giants quarterback? Because the Jets, Justin Fields. Isn't that guy going to be available?
Yeah, but same thing with him. Like, he couldn't handle being the starting quarterback. He got benched at some point too.
In New York, though, right? How about this? Yeah. Sam Darnold, number 3 overall pick, right? First round draft pick, same year as Baker, right? Then he went to Carolina. And then, he's in Seattle now. Oh, Minnesota, right? He had that great year in Minnesota, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And Baker's having a good year in Tampa Bay, obviously. What my point is, right, is that Sam Darnold is having a great year now. He was the quarterback in New York, and he saw ghosts. Remember that, Gome? He went on TV and said, "I see ghosts out there."
I say that all the time because I think it's hilarious. He's seeing ghosts.
It's got to be tough in New York. And Sam Darnold, I'm so glad you're having a good season. Justin Fields, right? Ohio State quarterback. I'm always rooting for you. But there's something about playing in New York, and I think that just goes back to Jackson Dart. If he's doing pretty well, if Kevin Stefanski liked him, and the Giants are clear, I bet the Giants would be tickled pink to have Kevin Stefanski as their head coach, who can try and work with, again, decent quarterback play. That's all I'm saying, decent quarterback. You mentioned Baker, right? And we all know Baker's doing pretty well now. But remember, man, in the beginning, he had a lot of interceptions, a little scrambling and stuff like that. I agree. I was excited for Baker, but, it seems since Bernie Kosar. Kosar, we haven't really had a franchise quarterback, and that is a very, very long time. Are you saying, Gome, that we should do another bridge quarterback? We should get maybe a Daniel Jones or Kyler Murray, right? Arizona looks like they're going to move on from him, right? Can we give him one of our 5th-round draft picks? Hey, Kyler Murray, do it for 1 year. Is that where we're at, man? Are we back to a 1 or 2 year bridge quarterback with the hope that we can draft somebody?
I think so, too.
That's where we're at?
I do think so, because I think we're in that place when we get 1 or 2 years out of that quarterback, and then depending on where we're at, we can draft another quarterback in the first round. You don't have to be in the top 5 picks to get a good quarterback. I mean, Lamar Jackson was the last quarterback in the first round taken. So, you can always get a quarterback later, but I really don't want to draft a quarterback this year. But I know how you feel. I'm going to throw this out because I saw this. I know how you feel about not trading up for the first number 1 overall pick. But I do want to say this. I saw this, so I wanted to throw it out and just see what you're feeling on it. Because first of all, I want to put this out there. The Raiders can't select Fernando Mendoza number 1 overall. They can't do it, because I don't know if you've heard any interviews with this guy. Fernando is, to me, like another version of Tim Tebow. He's a great guy. He talks highly of his teammates. It's a team game, and he's very well versed in talking to the media. Very nice guy. I don't see that as a Raiders quarterback. The Raiders can't take that guy. They can't be the Raiders quarterback, right? He's too nice. So what I'm saying is, and I'm not saying this. This is a pipe dream. That's not going to happen. But I saw this on Facebook. Someone put out there, hey, what if we get our first two first round draft picks and Shador, send them to the Raiders, and then we can get Fernando. I don't think that'll happen. I really don't think that'll happen.
Would you even do that? Would you even do that?
I don't know.
Would you think?
I don't know.
You think that guy's that good? I listen. I know he's had a great year. I know they're number one. You and I talked about it. We saw him play Ohio State defense, which is awesome. But you mentioned his interviews. I didn't bring that up. I have seen his interviews, and the guy needs some polishing. And if we leave it there, he needs some polishing. Then I give you Patrick Mahomes. That guy needed some polishing his first year. If you remember, the feedback on him was he talks like he's an actual frog, right? Yeah, maybe just don't put him in front of the cameras. I still feel that way about Lamar Jackson. I hope that doesn't offend any Baltimore fans out there, but I don't think Lamar Jackson should be in front of the cameras and microphone too often.
No, I do think that. No, I think you're right. But I really don't think that trading up would be the way to go. I am on the bandwagon of trading Shador, not because I don't believe in him, not because of any of his talent or anything like that. I love Shador the person. He's a great guy. He says all the right things. But we've talked before about how the circus that comes along with him, and I don't think it's beneficial to have that circus that comes with him. I wouldn't want that in Cleveland, especially with the new head coach. But that's just me. That's just my opinion.
You know what? You bring up a good point, and I reference a guy that I work with. Shout out to Dr. Russell. Does this mean Shador Sanders' father is in the running for a head coach of the Cleveland Browns now?
I was going to bring that up. I saw that because that's what happened when they were drafting him. Everyone's like, "Oh, Deion's going to be your next head coach." That's what everyone was saying.
Come on, though, right? I mean, no, it can't
I'd be firmly against that.
Deion's already said that he's team Shador, not team Browns. You know what I mean? Right. So he's going to do what he thinks is best for his kid, maybe not what's best for the Browns. Right. I don't know. That's a lot of speculation. I have nothing against Deion Sanders. I enjoyed watching you, but to my friend Gomer's point, it seems like the Browns are opening up a door for an even bigger circus. And isn't that what we're trying to get rid of? Half the fans didn't want the Deshaun Watson trade, even if he was successful. Right?
That's too much money.
Can we get off of this? That's why I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired of the quarterback. We're obviously back to the coach carousel, right? I just don't think anybody can do it. And to try and kick the can down the road, I mean, is Archie Manning really going to be worth it? It's hard to tell. He didn't have that good of a year this year, in my opinion. Do you think he got better, but he wasn't really playing anybody.
Yeah, and I think that's why. I think he got better towards the end of the year, and I think that's why he's saying another year is to hopefully get even better and maybe show the promise. And that's what I'm hoping for. And I want to throw out another name that I've heard in the coaching carousel about the possible Browns. Again, I don't think this will happen, but from what I've heard, the Browns put out feelers to see if this was a possibility. But our old former head coach, Bill Belichick.
Wow. Bill Belichick.
I'm not making it up. I'm not throwing it out there. I heard it. I heard someone say that the Browns actually looked into this. Whether they came up with something positive or negative, I don't know. But
if my father's watching, he's screaming right now, saying no, Bill Belichick, right? And he was right there with me when he benched Bernie Kosar back in, what was that, 93, before Kosar went to Dallas and got a Super Bowl ring by taking a knee, right? And of course, Bernie Kosar's famous last plays drawn up in the dirt saying, Bill got this wrong, I'm going to do a touchdown. Oh, man, so much about Bill Belichick. Great coach for, obviously, the Patriots, but am I really the only one who was kind of okay with him having a subpar college, right? College is not the same. I know your girlfriend just got out of college, Bill, but you're like, what, 76 or something like that. And, being in education, Gome, I can tell you, COVID changed the game. These 18, 19-year-olds are not the same. And in college, we see that. And now in college, they get the money. So it's a completely different game. I don't know. I definitely would like a senior coach, but Bill Belichick?
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I feel like I've burned too many Bill Belichick jerseys, right? To quote the LeBron days. And I don't know if I can go back. But, man, you mentioned it, brother. How do you feel about Bill? I thought you were going to say another name, which I'm happy to put. But first, I want to hear, bro, what do you think about Bill Belichick?
I think he's over the hill. I think he needs to retire. I don't think that's a good possibility. But I just thought it was funny that I heard that name. I'm like, at first I was like, thinking about it, but I'm like, nah. Yeah, I once Tom left, he hasn't done anything. So, without a quarterback, who knows? Is he gonna cut our next quarterback too and send Webster Slaughter off to the Houston Oilers again?
Oh wow, oh man, I miss you, Slaughter and Reggie Langhorn, and Mackenbiner. I miss those days. Clay Matthews on the defense, right? We had a monster defense and stuff like that. Thank you, Go, for bringing back those warm memories. But
what name were you?
Bill Belichick. But what about that other name? I thought you were going to talk about.
You go for it.
No. I want the audience to see me get excited when you say his name.
I don't even know. Do I know?
The Super Bowl winning champion coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the John Gruden, has been quoted as saying, "Give me Shador in 2 years. I'll bring Cleveland a championship." John Gruden, hard-nosed football, a great mind, but has he been out of football for too long?
Yeah, I see the new Tony La Russa.
That's why we talk to you about sports, man. You got it all over the place. Brilliant. Is he another Tony La Russa? I would hate to see John come back and then fail utterly. Like, what's that clown from Ohio State that went to Jacksonville? Total clown. Coaching Jacksonville Jaguars. Didn't realize that you had to recruit.
Urban?
Yeah, Urban Meyer, right? Urban Meyer, right? We love you, Urban, for what you did in Ohio State, but clearly you were clueless when it went to the NFL. No hard feelings, man. Nick Saban went to the NFL for a little bit, right? Came back, had a great time. So maybe you just want to stay in the booth, right, and get your millions for talking about football. So that's. I am nervous a little bit about John Gruden. I like Flores. I'm not gonna lie. He had a rough go in Miami, but all the players said that they would absolutely take a bullet for him. After he got let go from Miami, right, he went to Pittsburgh under Tomlin. Say what you want, Browns fans. I'm a Browns fan. I hate the Steelers, but Tomlin, you got to respect him, right? And if Tomlin were available right now, I'd be calling Jimmy and say, go get him. You know what I mean? But that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I do like Flores because he had I think he went to the playoffs with them, didn't he? And then the next year I think the bottom fell out. I think they lost a bunch of games in a row. And then they couldn't recover, if I remember correctly, and then that's why he got fired. But I really feel like he deserved more time.
There was also some behind the scenes stuff, and I know what you're thinking, right? You're going, oh God, this is terrible. I don't think so. In fact, I think this is a good story. And so what I read was that Flores saw his job as a coach as a certain piece of the puzzle, and so he would do his part with his players, but he felt that was his part. And what he learned after going to the Steelers, right, and then Minnesota under their coach for a while, is that you're the coach. You're not a piece of the puzzle. You are the puzzle, right? Mm-hmm. So I think he had what skills he had were A+, but he was deficient in a few. And, his path has brought him to great coaches, There's no doubt Mike Tomlin knows how to talk to every single one of his players, gets involved with them, gets that connection going. And Flores did not feel that way. But now he feels differently. So not just Pittsburgh, folks at home, but then he went to Minnesota. And then I think now he's ready. I think he's ready for another head coaching job. And one of the reporters that I like to pay attention to, Aditi Kinkleberry. Sorry if I mispronounced her name, right? But she's a well-known sports writer and TV analysis for CBS. Even she believes Flores would be a good possibility, although she wasn't rooting for Kevin Stefanski to be fired. I think it's a tough decision. I think the Browns make a lot of bad decisions. They have a history of bad decisions. Boy, would it be great to see them make a good decision here with the new coach. And I got to tell you, Flores, I wouldn't be upset.
No, I don't think I wouldn't be upset either. I think, like I said earlier, I think Schwartz is probably on the top of my list, and then maybe Flores, and like I said, I like Mike McDaniel as well. I just like the different personality he brings to the job. I like having that out there. There was some rumors that he was a little too lax in the locker room towards the end of his. Well, I guess he's not. I guess he hasn't officially ended his career in Miami yet. But if he does get fired, that would be a reason why. But you know what? That's what that was the news on Francona too, is that he let Boston get a little too lax there at the end, and then he came in and just revamped Cleveland. So if he can learn from it, I'm okay with it.
And there it is, right? If he can learn from it, absolutely. So if he can learn from it, and that's what we got. I'm not excited about an offensive coordinator who's never been a coach, because most times you see these guys are offensive coordinators for only a year or two. Only Minnesota, with this guy named Kevin Stefanski, did they have an offensive coordinator for many years, right? Yeah. And we thought that would transition well. And still, I'm going to remind Browns fans, we were going through coaches like tissue paper. Kevin Stefanski did a lot of good things. There's a lot of challenges thrown at him. And I believe he's a good coach. I believe just, maybe 6 years and all the challenges, the team is just ready for a fresh, maybe the ownership's ready for a fresh face. Let's hope it goes well. Let's hope they have got somebody in mind, because to let go of this guy, I don't know. The only other knock I could go against Kevin Stefanski is Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots. That guy turned them around.
Yeah.
Right. And is that not the knock on Kevin Stefanski?
Well, if anything, they should have fired Stefanski last year. They should have fired Stefanski last year and then hired Vrabel. But
that would have been great. But I think Vrabel knew that New England was holding his place for that 1 year. I do. I do. I think New England and him maybe do it. But hey, more power to him. I love Mike Vrabel. Loved him at Ohio State. Love the fact he's Ohio born. Wish he could have stayed for another year. And that's why I think we're both nervous about Jim Schwartz leaving, right, Gom?
Mm-hmm. Man, so, I mean, we probably could keep going talking about the coaches, and we will. So please come back to us in the future, because we'll be breaking down the candidates and the rumors that we hear and about who the next Browns head coach is going to be. We're going to be talking about that. But, of course, we got to take a quick break. We're going to talk about the Miles Garrett sack record coming up after the break. This is a happy hour in the land. We're going to take a quick break. But if you're listening to us, like, subscribe, give me a hug, whatever you want to do, just make sure you come back and give us a place in your heart so we can come back and visit you. All right. This is Happy Hour in the Land. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Happy Hour in the Land. I'm Gomer. That's the professor. Man, it's Victory Monday. We're talking a lot about the Browns. And, there's a couple things I wanted to cover about Miles Garrett's sack record real quick. And I just want to say to everyone out there that's saying it's a false sack record, you out of your mind. Out of your mind.
Amen.
Man, you know what? Miles set that record. Yeah, he did it in 17 games. But you know how many snaps he did it in? He did it in almost 200 snaps less than TJ Watt did it. He had 437 defensive snaps. TJ Watt had 616. And Strahan had 567. And those guys probably also did not do it on a losing team where when they're snapping the ball, they're running it. A lot of the offenses were running against Miles because they had the lead. They didn't need to pass. But that did not happen to TJ and Michael. So Miles, his number of pass snaps were much, much lower than these guys. He is the true holder of the record. He beat those other guys. It's for Strahan to go on national television and give Miles shade because he did it in one more game. Shame on you, Michael Strahan. He beat your record. He did it better. He's more of an athlete. He's more elite than you'll ever be. And congratulations to Miles Garrett for breaking that record and going on his way to the Hall of Fame. Someday he's going to put on that yellow jacket in Canton. I can't wait for that.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said, my friend. Michael Strahan, you have no right to give shade to Miles Garrett, who's been on. I'm sorry. Did you forget that he's on the Cleveland Browns? I'm sorry. Every time I watch CBS or NBC or any of these national spotlights, they say that the Cleveland Browns are the same old Cleveland Browns. So Strahan, the Browns have had one winning season record in the last 20 years, but you broke the sack record at 22 and a half. No, I'm gonna side with my friend Gomer here. You're right. Miles got an extra game. Miles has been playing on the Cleveland Browns, one of the worst records in history for the NFL for the past 8 years. So you know what, Michael Strahan, you just lost credit. You lost credit with everybody in the city of Cleveland. And I don't know if you figured this out yet or not, but a lot of people from Cleveland move on to Cleveland, much as myself has. And you just lost respect. I gave you respect at 22 and a half. I agreed that you did it in last season. But you were with the New York Giants when you went on a Super Bowl team. This is the Cleveland Browns, the same team you and your buddies have no problem bashing every Sunday and calling it the same old Browns. So you know what, Strahan? You lost credit. You lost credit because you didn't give Miles the credit. I'll tell you who did give credit that I wasn't expecting, Watt from Pittsburgh. They put the headphones on him last night, and they said, hey, what do you say? And you know what? He said the same thing. It was one extra game, but I give respect. And that's, Michael Strahan, what you didn't give to Miles Garrett, the respect. And Miles Garrett will own a gold jacket, will go to the Hall of Fame. And who knows what he's going to do next year. What did you do next year, Miles? Or what did you do, Strahan? Did you go on ABC and you sold out? Miles Garrett is still playing football in today's league on a losing team. As my friend said, when you're down by a lot, the other team just runs the ball and you're not going to get a sack. The Pittsburgh Steelers avoided a sack by Miles Garrett and lost the game. Cincinnati Bengals were trying to do the same thing, but instead they didn't just lose the game, but they got the sack. That's how valuable Miles Garrett and the defensive backs are. Let's keep this defense together. Let's show the Michael Strahans and the other people in this world, all those talking heads that get paid millions of dollars to talk about football analysis. Strahan, your record is gone. Miles Garrett of the Cleveland Browns broke it. Accept it. Your time is over. Go back to talking to Kelly Ripa. Go back to you.
Amen. Couldn't second that enough. But also, too, to all the people that said that Joe Burrow took a fall, took a dive. I don't think he did.
What?
Yeah.
This isn't Brett Favre who did it.
No, Brett Favre
right?
took a dive.
Brett Favre took a dive. Watch the tape. Miles Garrett went around and got him. And you know what? When you break the single season sack record, I'm sorry, you deserve an extra 60, 90 seconds. Not 5 minutes like the coach was saying. I watched the game. Did you watch the game? Did you see 5 minutes of celebration? Or did you see the Cleveland Browns respectfully walk off of the field off the field and on the sidelines just do what a team would do.
Right. And we have the clip, right, of the sack.
First down. Burrow, he's under pressure, he's sacked! And there it is, a record that has stood nearly a quarter of a century has a new leader as 30-year-old Miles Garrett records his NFL record 20.
Let's show it again. This is record-breaking sack, folks.
Burrow, he's under pressure, he's sacked! And there it is, a record that has stood.
I love Shelby Harris high-fiving the ref. It's great. But you know what? A lot of people are saying he took a fall there because he fell down. Now, if you noticed how quick Miles was back in the backfield, like 0.2 seconds or something ridiculous like that, he didn't have time to take a dive. I'm sure he felt that and just panicked and fell down. I don't think that he took the dive because you know what? The Bengals were mad that they were trying to win the game and that there was 5 minutes left of the season. And they were trying to run on the ball and they were trying to score and win the game. I don't think they would have taken that sack if they were losing at that point, right? So I don't think they would have taken that sack trying to win the game. And I just think it happened so quick that he panicked and fell down.
100%. Anybody that says that he faked it, watch the clip. Watch how fast that was. Watch Miles Garrett going around and get him. Gomer, I couldn't agree with you more. You've broken that analysis down perfectly. There is a bias against Cleveland, and that is why we are here. That is why we created Happy Hour in the Land. We understand you, the Browns fans. We understand what pain you go through. And you know what? My friend Gomer and I, we're not afraid to call it out. And I thank you, Gomer, for calling that specific play out. Miles Garrett deserves the 23. TJ Watt, respect for you for admitting that Miles got it over your record. And yes, it was an over a point, but you gave the respect just like Michael Strahan should have done. 23 is the sack leading record by a Cleveland Brown. Deal with it, NFL. The Browns are real, no matter how you want to look at it, and we're only getting better. Thank you again, Gomer, for bringing this up. I couldn't be more happy to be here with you.
We'll talk about it more in just a little bit. This is the Gomer and the Professor and Happy Hour in the Lane. We'll be right back. Hey, what's going on? This is Happy Hour in the Land. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. I am Gomer. That's the Professor. This is a place where all Cleveland sports fans can come, let it out, vent, have a therapy session, bring your liquid libations. As the drinks are bottomless, appetizers are half off here in the Happy Hour in the Land. So welcome wherever you're at. Like, subscribe, follow, hug, whatever. That's what we do here. We just want to be a part of your life. We want to know what's going on, man. Anyhow, man, we've been talking about the Browns.
And let you know that you're not alone, right, Gomer? You are not alone out there, Browns fans. This is what my friend Gomer and I do a lot of times on Monday, especially Victory Monday, which is where we are today. Browns won the last 2 games in a row. We've had some exciting conversations, but Gomer's got some good ideas for us to finish on, and I'm excited to talk with him. Gomer, I let you finish your drink, so now I can finish mine. Hand the ball off to you, my friend.
Yeah, we've been talking all about the coaching decisions that the Browns have made, possibly will make. We've been talking about that for a while. We talked about that for a long time. But now we got to talk about some other stuff, right? We got to talk about Miles. We talk about Miles Garrett, who set the single season sack record for the NFL, the entire NFL, 23 sacks in one season, which is just great. Good job, Miles. Good job. I was so happy to see, man.
Congratulations, Miles.
It was getting to the fourth quarter, and I was starting to think, I don't know if he's going to get this. And then when he got it, it was just a good time overall. I was glad to see it. I was happy.
Is it okay, Gomer, that it happened at an away game? But this is one of those situations where rarely the away game is still the home state. In other words, Miles Garrett broke it in the state of Ohio.
Yeah. Still, well, Cincinnati is kind of Kentucky in my opinion, but But no, still in the state of Ohio, right on the Ohio River. And you could hear, I don't know if it was just the Cincinnati fans were also rooting for him, or if there were a lot of Cleveland fans there, but you could hear a lot of cheers when he got the record. You could, I think, and if I heard correctly, I think they said, was it Njoku that was leading chants? He was getting he was trying to get the whole stadium to chant his name, and it was working from what I understand. I didn't hear it. But,
no kidding.
Yeah. But it was really good to see. They had a mild celebration. Shelby Harris, I don't know if you saw this, high-fived the referee, which, again...
did not see that.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
Fantastic.
I love Shelby. He's a great guy. That was just funny to see overall. And he got number 23, and it was funny. I was wondering about this. After the game, they announced that Miles was signing a sponsorship deal with the Jordan brand. After the game, because he has 23 sacks, number 23, Michael Jordan. I was interested if he didn't get the sack, were they not going to sign him? Or if he got like 2 sacks, if he ended with 24, were they not going to sign him? I don't know, but I'm glad to see Miles with that brand. It's a lot of the elite athletes, Tiger, Bo Jackson, out there, Michael, obviously, LeBron with, well, Nike. Those are all Nike athletes, but still, I consider that the same thing. But it's good to see Miles out there with that.
That's
and of course,
a great point, Gomes. That's a great point, right? I mean, is that the stars aligning or not, right? 23, Michael Jordan. You're right. What if he was 24? And, 5 weeks ago, I think you and I would have put money on that he would have made 24. So maybe this was the universe all putting the pieces together for Miles. Thank you for staying in Cleveland. Not that you really had a choice. But we love you, and I think you should just look at Joe Thomas. Look at how much Cleveland loves and appreciates Joe Thomas. You can retire a Brown. You can still have all the glory, and let's not forget, Miles is not the average football player. Even yesterday, they were talking about how he has many interests. Everybody knows about the dinosaurs, right? But he's got many interests out there, and couldn't happen to a better guy, and I'm just so proud that he's in an orange helmet. And just want to say thank you, Miles. I know you got paid. I know you wanted more money, but follow the path of Joe Thomas. And Denzel Ward, follow the path of these guys as well. You're good. You're quality. Let's retire a Cleveland Brown. Let's use your guys' efforts to move the needle from not doing so good to possible championship material. Gomes, I'm so glad that you brought it up, and very happy for Miles. And wow, that is a really interesting question. Would Jordan still pay him at 24? Not that he needs the money, right, folks? But give Miles some love. And I think that's what the Browns did when they drafted Mason Graham, right? That is a quality middle guy. Man, can you imagine if they got Alex Wright? I love you on the other side. You got a sack the other day. I'm glad they signed him for 3 years. I'm with you, Gomes. Let's keep that defense together. Let's work on the offense. Let's turn this shit around. Like the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hello? Are they not about to go to the playoffs after they had a number 5 top pick? We can do it too, Gomes, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm hoping for too. And you talk about Miles having different interests. I don't know if you saw that he had a surprise birthday party. I believe it was at the Cleveland Natural History Museum. I believe it was at one of the museums with dinosaurs. And he showed up, and had a nice surprise birthday party there with his girlfriend, Chloe Kim, which I am praying that it gets more serious, because if those two have babies, that baby will take over the world in whatever they do. You got an Olympic athlete,
and they will have the Cleveland fan behind, or the not the fan, the sign, the flag behind them, right?
Yeah.
Just saw Drew Carey do a show. You're right. You're doing the interviews. Drew Carey, by the way, had an amazing television series in Cleveland from, I think, about 95 to 04. And one of the first questions they asked him was like, why Cleveland? And his answer is like, I'm so tired of them doing TV shows in the Midwest. It's always Chicago. This is Cleveland, baby. And I think that's where you're going with this Miles Garrett, right? Let's return this Cleveland, baby. There's quality here. We got this. Never forget the land.
I also love the story he told about Moon Over Parma and how they found it. They just went to a bar and a guy was singing it, and they went up to him like, "We're going to pay you money and be a theme song for our show." And he's like, "Oh, okay, whatever."
Yeah, and the guy totally was like, "Yeah, whatever." But they were like, "No, that's a great song." And Moon Over Parma. It's a great song. I'm so glad that song is even more local than I originally thought. Yes, love it. First 2 seasons of the Drew Carey Show, I think, was Moon Over Parma, and then, of course, the classic
Cleveland Rocks,
which I'll never get tired of.
Yeah, they play after every Guardians win, so I'm thankful for that. Anytime I hear it, that's for sure. But talking about the sack though, Jamar Chase, not a fan. And he had this to say.
The Browns were celebrating the sack.
Yeah, I don't think they can do that. I never knew you could let the whole team get on your field. That's like me catching my 10th pass and the whole team running on the field. We're gonna get flagged. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? But congrats to him and everything. But they got to call a flag on that play.
Apparently, Zach said the refs told him after the fact that they had decided they were going to stop the game, but never informed.
What you mean, stop the game?
Stop the game to let them celebrate the moment.
Well, I hope. Well, they better stop the game when I do something in my back end. That's all I got to say about that one.
Man, Jamar, come on, man. There's no way you're comparing 10 catches in a game to breaking a record that's over 40 years old. Well, I guess the overall stat has been kept track of for about 40 years, but still, he set a single season NFL record, not 10 catches in a game. That's been done before. So there's no way that you're comparing 10 catches in a game to that. And also, there's no way you didn't know that he was setting a single season record. You knew it was coming. And don't be mad because you lost. You lost. Don't be mad. It happens. You know what? And the refs did the right thing. They didn't. Zach Taylor was mad about it too, by the way, the head coach. He was mad about it. He was arguing, and he said the refs stopped the game for 5 minutes. There was no way they stopped the game for 5 minutes. It was like maybe a minute, maybe 2 that they celebrated and went off the field. It's not like they did the Cal Ripken celebration jaunt around the stadium and high-fived every fan. They celebrated, went off the field, the next play happened. Man,
my man, that's why I love talking to you. You put it in a context so well because you're a Cleveland sports fan. I couldn't agree with you more. Number 1, wasn't 5 minutes. Number 2, 10 catches in a game does not equal the same level as 23 sacks in a season, right? And especially when anybody who's watched, to our Cleveland fans, they are double, triple teaming him, and he still broke the sack record. I'll tell you what, Lamar Jackson, you get double, tripled every single play and still break some kind of wide receiver record. You know what? Maybe they will take a pause. Not for 5 minutes. And thank you, Gomer, again, for pointing out that they didn't do this in the middle of the 50. It's not like Ohio State stabbing a flag, right? In the middle, or Oklahoma is in Ohio State. Right? As they went off the field, they were classy. And you know what? Speaking of class, Gomer, how long was Miles Garrett out? 1 play? 2 plays? Right? He was right back in there, man. He almost got that 24th. And that takes it back to Gomer's original question. Would Jordan's 23 company still pay him if he got 24? I don't know. I'm happy that he got 23. I'm happy that it was in Ohio. And we show you this clip of Chase because it may change your mind like it did mine. Nothing against you, Jamar Chase. You played with Burrow. You had some great success. But you know what? The minute you start dissing Miles Garrett, the greatest NFL player to be playing right now, and you've got that kind of attitude, you know what? Gomi, you couldn't have done it better. I'm proud that you did it that way, and I'm honored to be here with you, showing that film and saying, Chase, you have an immense skill. But you know what? Maybe you got to get a little class. That's from the professor. Go.
Yeah, and you know what? I like Jamar Chase, or at least I did a lot more before this weekend. But he's talented. He's a talented individual, right? He's a very good wide receiver. But we're gonna kid ourselves if we say Jamar Chase is gonna break records in the back end of his career. I'm sorry, Jamar. You're a good wide receiver, but you're not touching Jerry Rice. You're not touching those records. All right, man. Like, so you don't really have to keep worrying about that. Let the athletes that go out there, the elite athletes like Miles, go out there, get their records, and you can just watch and be happy. But you ain't touching Jerry. You ain't touching those records, man. I'm sorry. Gotta say it. But speaking of the game in general, right? We had, like, we
Sorry, Gone. That came a little late. The audience was a little delayed on your speech about that. I apologize, but you do deserve an applause for that. I think every Cleveland fan, right? Chase, you got skills, but you ain't Miles Garrett, my man. Not yet. Not yet. And Miles Garrett deserves that. So sorry to interrupt you, Gone. It was the audience that did that. I took them off for you. Please go on.
But speaking of the game, we talked about it earlier in the show, right? But I think it was just poetic justice that the game ended with Schmidt's last second field goal. After he missed a kick in the first game against the Cincinnati, fans wanted to string him up, run him out of town, and we're calling for us to bring Phil Dawson back in, and to end the season, kick the game winner, get carried off the field. Like, man, that's a Hollywood ending there, because not only did he get carried off the field, they put Miles up on their shoulders after the record. So, like, to be able to do that in the same game, to be carried on shoulders of your teammates, the same as Miles Garrett, all-time great, future Hall of Famer, I feel good for that kid. I feel great. I love it. And I feel a lot better for him than the Ravens kicker, who missed the last second kick and is now probably crushed for his entire life because the Ravens did not make the playoffs. And he's a rookie. I hope he bounces back, but he might need some therapy after that, because fans in Baltimore probably are not fans of his right now. Whew, that was rough.
Well, they just, yes. Well, and the Ravens have had a history of amazing kickers, almost automatic, if you remember. And so I got to tell you, I was surprised that he missed it, but I couldn't agree with you. Couldn't agree with you more, Gome. It was a great highlight for Browns fans, and I really hope people got to see the last two games. You know what I mean? Again, good friend of mine I was talking to earlier about, hey, you had good draft picks. We're starting to pull it around. He's like, what's the big deal? We won 2 games at the end. Yeah, we showed improvement. That's what happens when you play the most rookie snaps in a season, is that you want to see improvement. And I'm sorry. Andrew Berry had a great draft, and he deserves another shot. I'll tell you what, though. Go. Andrew Berry makes a disaster of a draft pick this season, and I'm okay with him leaving. But not until then. He had such a good draft pick that give me half of that, right? We got 3 picks in the first, 35 picks? That means all 3 should be starters. I'll tell you what, Go. Let me put it out there right now. If you don't pick 3 starters, you go find another job. What do you think, Go? Does it have to be all 3, or would you take 2 out of 3?
That's a tough question. I haven't thought about it. I'll probably at least take 2 out of 3. But I don't know. What we're gonna have to see, and that's actually probably another show, right? We're like to break down exactly. I mean, I've been looking at it. Who do we take with the first pick? Spencer Fano, Francis, the tackle from Miami. I won't even try.
I was going to say the tackle from Miami that we all watched during the Ohio State game, right? I know I did. I was like, oh, he's at the top of the screen. He's at the bottom of the screen. We need offensive linemen, and Mel Kiper thinks that guy's the best. I saw him. I thought he was pretty good. Just to back up my friend Gomer's point there, he's good offensive lineman. Who else do you like, Gomer?
Well, I mean, obviously, I've heard. I don't know. I've heard ties to Carnell Tate at number 6. I've also seen ties to I believe his name is Casey Concepcion, wide receiver late in the first round. So there's a lot of different ways we can go. I'm sure that's a whole nother show that we'll talk about and break it down in a little bit more in detail. Because I think their draft pick is what they're drafting 6 or 7.
I believe it's 7 right now. I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe it's 7.
So I'm excited about that. We'll talk about that, but just to see what we did this last draft, where we had Fannin, Schlesinger, Judkins, who else? Well, Schmidt, right? He's a rookie. He didn't draft him, but
how about Fannin? 4th round Fannin.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, great draft overall. We'll be talking about this one coming up next to see what Andrew Berry can do next. We'll be talking about that at a later date. But thank you for everyone joining us today. There's a lot of excitement with the rookies that we have. Hopefully the Browns can go forward. Hopefully we get a new head coach that can put it all together and get us back into the promised land. Once again, I'm Gomer. That's the professor. Thank you for joining us. And I want to cheers to all you Cleveland fans out there. And good night, Hiker Biker Bill, wherever you are. See you guys.